Montalvo nos impartirá la clase de cómo identificar auxiliares en una oración, como también nos dará consejos a los alumnos y estrategias a los maestros de cómo aplicarlos en clase.
Hi guys, for today, what we're going to do is we're going to observe the class, how to identify the auxiliary in a sentence, okay? Cómo identificar el auxiliar en una oración. Now for this, we have 3 steps. We have to observe the 3 times in these sentences, okay? For example, number 1 of number 3 is the idea in the past form, okay? Number 2 is the idea in the present form, okay? And finally, number 3 is the idea but in a future form, okay? Now, once we have these 3 ideas, we have to observe the complement, okay? We have to observe the complement of the sentence. Normally, the complement is at the end of the sentence, okay? And here is where we have to check the adverbs of time, okay? Now, these adverbs, we have special for past, special for present, and special for future, okay? Now, let's start with number 1, with the list of the past ideas, okay? So, let's make a division like that, right? And let's check out number 1. For example, a special idea for number 1 or an adverb of time. For past can be the idea yesterday, okay? The moment that you observe the word yesterday, in the moment you can see, oh, okay, that's the idea but of the past, okay? Esa idea, like, es de pasado, alright? And we have more ideas. For example, number 2 is last, and imagine we use week. Like last week, la semana pasada, okay? There, we's like, okay, it's talking about last week, it's past, alright? So that could be number 2. Imagine number 3 is the idea, one number, for example, 3, 2, 5, 7, the number that you want, okay? Next is a special form of time, una forma especial del tiempo. For example, days, días, months, meses, weeks, semanas. You select, okay? Let's use week. Let's repeat week. Like that. For example, 3 weeks. And now, to finish the idea, is the word ago. Now, the idea or the word ago represents hace. So imagine in the combination, the idea is 3 weeks ago. In Spanish, that would be hace 3 semanas, okay? Now, when you see or when you identify these 3 ideas, in the moment, you're like, okay, this idea is about the past, okay? Now, how about if we pass to the next category, to category number 2? Alright guys, now in category number 2, we're going to observe the idea for present, okay? So here, let's make a division. And here, we're going to use idea number 1. The word today. Now, the word today in Spanish is hoy, okay? So, when you see or when you hear the word today, like, okay, today. Oh, okay, it's about the present, okay? This word is for the present idea. Now, what about number 2? This idea, right now. The idea right now is ahorita mismo, alright? Ahorita. So, technically, you're talking about the present, okay? Like, now, right now. That would be present ideas, okay? And finally, number 3, we can use the idea in the moment. When you hear or when you see the idea in the moment, you know it is the present form, okay? So these 3 ideas. Today, right now, in the moment, talk about the present form, alright? Alright guys, now in number 3, we have more ideas for the future, okay? And idea number 1 can be the idea tomorrow, okay? What do you think is tomorrow? Well, tomorrow is the word mañana. So when you see or you hear the word tomorrow, oh, okay, it's talking about the future, right? Here, you identify as the future. Now, number 2, we can use the word next, and we can use the word week. So that would be next week, alright? Next week. The word next in Spanish is siguiente or la siguiente. And the word week is semana. So next week, la siguiente semana. And now, number 3, it's a special combination, okay? Number 3 is the day after tomorrow. Imagine, tomorrow, we know it is mañana. But the day after tomorrow is the idea pasado mañana. Okay, now that we identified the adverbs of the time in the sentences, in the complement, for example, past in the special ideas, present in the special ideas, and future in the special ideas. Now we have to observe the auxiliaries of each time, of past, of present, and future, okay? Now, we can observe the idea for past in different auxiliaries. For example, auxiliary number 1 is the idea did, okay? Now, this auxiliary, the word did, we can use it in negative ideas and in questions, okay? So when you observe that this is negative or that it's a question, we use did, okay? Oh, and also, the verb that we have to use is going to be normal, okay? Nothing special, just the verb, okay? Now, that is number 1, did. Number 2 are the ideas was and were. Those 2, okay? Now, was and were are a little bit different than the idea did, because was and were, the verb that we're going to use has ing, okay? So, the moment that you identify the verb with ing, for example, let's say playing, you will use the idea was or the idea were, okay? Now, the difference of was versus were is the subject, okay? Especially for was, we have 4 subjects or 4 special subjects. The subject I, the subject, he, the subject, she, and the subject, it. Those four, okay? And for were, we have four special subjects. We have four special subjects. Number one is the idea you. Number two is the idea we. Number three is the idea they. And number four is the idea yo, okay? Now, very, very similar to the past forms, we have the present, okay? And here we have different forms. For example, number one is the idea do or the idea does, okay? And the same as did is for negative or in a question form, okay? And the verb is normal. No ing, no s, no ed, nothing. The verb is normal, okay? And also, we have a different form of auxiliary for present. The next auxiliary is the verb to be am, the verb to be is, and the verb to be are. And these three, when you see or when you identify am, is, are, these, the verb is ing, okay? Now, that is for present. How about if we pass to the future form, right? In the future form, we have two ideas. Idea number one is the idea will, okay? And very, very similar to did, do and does, will, the verb is normal. When we have will, okay? The verb is normal. But how about number two? The idea going to. Now this idea going to is very, very similar. But these two are different, okay? Because going to in Spanish represents voy a, vamos a. And the word will is lo harás. Alright? For example, tú comerás. You will eat. Versus going to. And going to is very, very special because going to uses the adverbs. Going to uses the adverbs, okay? And will does not. Will, no adverbs. So tomorrow, next week, the day after tomorrow, will, no, we're not going to use it, okay? We will use going to with tomorrow, next week, and the day after tomorrow. Alright, now how about this? Now, let's make the connections that we have, the adverbs, los adverbios, and the auxiliaries, los auxiliares. And let's use them, or let's connect them, vamos a utilizarlos, o vamos a conectarlos en sentences, en ideas o en oraciones, okay? For example, number one says, number one dice, I, space, using the computer today. Yo, usando la computadora hoy. So here, what you have to do is, you have to identify the word today. Or you have to identify the adverb. Tenemos que identificar primero la última palabra de la oración. Esa nos va a decir qué idea debemos utilizar. For example, today, hoy. Is it past, present, or future? It is right here. Today is present. So here, we know it's present. So we pass to the auxiliaries of the present. Pasamos a los auxiliares del presente. And we have 5 options. Do, does, but the verb is normal. El verbo es normal. Or, am, is, are. Y el verbo tiene ing. Or the verb has ing. So let's check. Today, perfect. The verb ing. So, do and does? No. This, no. Am, is, are? Yes. But now we have to remember. Ahora debemos acordarnos del verb to be. If the subject, si el sujeto is I, what is the verb to be? Am, is, or are? Well, the subject is am. I am using the computer today. Yo estoy usando la computadora hoy. Alright, now let's pass to example number 2. Ahora, ejemplo número 2. Now it's different. Ahora es diferente. Because now it's a question. Es una pregunta, okay? But first, let's do the same thing. Hagamos lo mismo. Let's identify the last part. La última parte, okay? For example, yesterday. Yesterday, past, present, or future. Well, yesterday is past. So here, past, we pass to the auxiliaries. Pasamos a los auxiliares del pasado. So it's did, pregunta or negativo, was and were, también puede ser. But we have to identify now the verb. And the verb is clean. So for example, did, the verb is normal. Was and were, the verb ing. El verbo tiene ing. So here, we know the verb is normal. The verb is normal. So the idea is did, okay? Did she clean the house yesterday? ¿Limpió ella la casa ayer? Alright, now number 3 is a little bit different, okay? Because number 3, we don't have an adverb. There is no specification. No nos dice cuál debemos utilizar, no nos especifica. So here, we have to remember, tenemos que acordarnos, cuando no nos especifica, normalmente nos habla del futuro. But we have 2 forms, pero tenemos 2 formas del futuro. We have will, and verb is normal, the verb is normal, and going to, it's also normal. But the difference is, pero la diferencia es, will does not use adverbs. This, no. Going to, it uses the adverbs. Utiliza los adverbios. So here, let's check it out. She, go, okay, the verb, normal. For example, will, normal. Going to, normal. But now, we have to identify the last part, the complement. Adverb, no adverb, no adverbio. So here, immediately or automatically, the idea is will, okay? Because remember, will, no specification of the future. And going to specifies the ideas or the adverbs or los adverbios in the future, okay? And in Spanish, it says, she will go to the park. Ella irá al parque. No nos dice cuándo, pero es algo que ella hará.
Gracias por ver nuestro video. Acompáñanos la próxima semana
En este tu canal,
Vivimos para enseñar.
Compártelos con todos tus amigos y estén al pendiente de los siguientes videos.